My name is Ophir Chen, and this is a demo on how to create automatically a positional parser and serializer. We all know that within B2B DT, you can create any-to-any transformation. Sometimes the transformations are for positional files, which are supposed to be fairly simple to process. In those cases, you don't really need to go into DT and manually create the transformation. You can actually give it to the business analyst to develop the actual transformation within its own type of the tools, which is really Excel. Consider this positional sample, which is a bit more than the traditional positional file. It has multiple segments. In this case, the first one starts with the customer string, and there are detailed segments that are coming right after, and those are nested under the customer segment. The entire structure repeats, and within each segment, the data is really positional. So the first field over here would be, say, 10 characters, and the next field would be another 10 characters, and so on and so forth. Traditionally, you could go directly into DT and create a parser for that, but I'll show you a different way to do that. Consider this Excel file as the specification that corresponds to the sample file. In this specification file, you can see that I'm giving the transformation name and calling it purchase order, and then I'm deciding the hierarchy of the data. At the highest level, I'm saying that there is something called customers. One level below that, there is a single customer. And I can identify a customer by finding the text with that specific string coming before the actual segment. This segment is broken into multiple fields, which are the fields that are coming over here. And the fields will contain specific fields that are just containing the data, like this customer delimiter of length 14, and other fields that are more of composite fields, more of an abstract kind of fields. They do not contain the real data, like name. And the name two fields in this case are the first and last, each one of lengths of 10. I can also specify whether a field is optional or mandatory. In the context of positional file, an optional field will be a field that will contain only or can contain only spaces. Any mandatory field has to contain at least one character, which is not a space, in order for it to be a valid one and for the transformation to succeed. You can also define specific data types, XS data types, on the fields for the purpose of validation. Underneath the customer information, we get the details section, which is, again, another segment that repeats. And I can define another scheme to kind of find the repetition. It doesn't have to be a text. It could be a pattern, and the pattern in this case contains that pattern. Let's see how that is being used in DT. If I go to File, New Project, and choose Import Project, I can give the project a name, call it Positional, then choose one of my import projects. In this case, it's going to be the positional program. it will ask me to point to the specification file, which is the Excel file that was used to define this. I can press finish, and if the definition is okay, then a DT project will be created. And within that, there are the parser, serializer, as well as the XSD that represents the structure that was defined within the Excel file. As you can see, I got the exact same structure that I had within the Excel. Purchase order at the top, customer that repeats, the specific fields, sub-segments that are nested within another segment that also repeats, and so on. In order to test my transformation, I can go and say run, choose which of the objects do I want to run, the parser or the serializer. I'll choose the parser, and then point to my sample data corresponding to the structure. Just run one more time. Then I got my results in an XML. As you can see, 2 customers with the specific field names, data, and so on. In many cases, this should be the end of the story. You can take the DT service and deploy it, but in some cases, you may need to do modifications to it. As this is an ordinary DT transformation, you can go to the script, and as you can see, I can go into it and modify it by, say, adding one more field, changing some properties of something, and so on and so forth. It's important to say that this package is not part of the product, and if you have any further interest or questions, you would need to contact the B2B vertical team within the IPS organization. Thank you.